Let's jump right into it. Number 5. The thumbs up. You probably threw one of these bad boys around today without realizing you were channeling the bloodlust of ancient Rome. Picture this. You're sitting in the Colosseum, watching two gladiators beat the absolute hell out of each other, and one guy's down for the count. The crowd's going wild, the emperor's leaning forward in his box seat, and suddenly everyone's looking at their hands to decide if this dude lives or dies. Now here's where it gets twisted. We've all seen the movies where thumbs up means live and thumbs down means death, right? Well, Hollywood got it completely backwards. The real Roman gesture for mercy was actually hiding your thumb inside your fist, called pollis compresso. When they wanted blood, they'd stick that thumb out and point it toward the guy's throat, basically saying slit it. So every time you're giving someone a thumbs up on Instagram or telling your buddy, good job, you're literally using the ancient Roman sign for kill this person. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a gladius. The gesture only flipped to meaning something positive around the 1900s when pilots started using it to signal all clear before takeoff. Imagine explaining to a time-traveling Roman that we now use their death sentence gesture to show approval on social media. Number 4. Crossing your fingers. This innocent little move that we associate with hoping for luck or making a secret promise we don't intend to keep has roots that'll make your skin crawl. Back in the early days of Christianity, when being a believer could literally get you fed to lions or crucified upside down, Christians needed secret ways to identify each other. The crossed fingers weren't just about luck, they were about survival. Two Christians would cross their index fingers together to form a subtle cross, basically saying, hey, I'm one of you, please don't turn me into the Romans. But here's where it gets really dark. During the medieval period, people believed that crossing your fingers could actually trap demons. Not scare them away, not protect you from them, but literally imprison evil spirits in the X shape between your fingers. Medieval folks thought demons were so stupid they'd get confused by the geometric pattern and couldn't escape. Imagine walking around thinking you've got a pocket dimension full of angry demons trapped in your hand gesture. The making a promise you don't intend to keep thing came later, when people figured if the gesture was powerful enough to confuse demons, it might be strong enough to confuse God about your true intentions. Basically, medieval people thought they could lie to the Almighty with a simple finger trick. Number 3. The peace sign. This one's going to absolutely wreck how you see every hippie photo from the 1960s. That innocent V-shaped gesture that became the symbol of flower power and anti-war protests. It started as one of the most brutal insults in human history. We're talking about the medieval equivalent of flipping someone off, except way worse. Picture this, it's 1415, the Battle of Agincourt, and English longbowmen are absolutely destroying the French army with their superior archery skills. The French were so pissed off about getting their butts handed to them by a bunch of peasants with fancy bows that they swore they'd cut off the drawing fingers of any English archers they captured. The index and middle finger were literally the tools of their trade, the difference between life and death on a medieval battlefield. So when English archers wanted to taunt their enemies, they'd hold up those two fingers and wave them around, basically saying, come and take them. It was like flashing your weapons at someone who'd threatened to disarm you. The gesture was so offensive that getting caught doing it to French noblemen could get you tortured, mutilated, or straight up executed. Fast forward to World War II, and Winston Churchill completely misunderstood the gesture when he started flashing it for victory photos. His secretary had to quietly explain that he was accidentally giving the entire British public the medieval finger. So he learned to turn his hand around to show the back instead of the palm. The hippies who adopted it for peace had no clue they were using a gesture that once meant, I'm going to kill you with my superior archery skills. Number 2, the handshake. Every business deal, every introduction, every nice to meet you moment involves this gesture. And you've probably never thought about why we grab each other's hands and pump them up and down like we're trying to start an old-fashioned well. The truth is so paranoid it makes modern conspiracy theorists look chill. In ancient times, extending your right hand to someone was basically a weapons inspection. Think about it. Your right hand is your sword hand, your stabbing hand, your I'm about to end your entire existence hand. When two warriors met, they'd grab each other's right hands to make absolutely sure nobody was hiding a dagger. It wasn't just about checking for weapons. The up and down shaking motion served a specific purpose. It was designed to shake loose any hidden blades tucked up their sleeves. Imagine every handshake being a tiny pat-down, a mutual agreement that neither of you was planning immediate murder. Roman soldiers took this so seriously that refusing a handshake was considered a declaration of hostile intent. We were basically saying, I don't trust you enough to prove I'm not armed, and you shouldn't trust me either. The grip strength mattered too. A weak handshake suggested you might be injured, sick, or trying to hide something. Too strong grip meant you were probably a psychopath who enjoyed causing pain. The perfect handshake had to hit this sweet spot of I'm strong enough to kill you, but civilized enough not to want to. Modern business bros obsessing over firm handshakes are unknowingly participating in an ancient ritual designed to prevent spontaneous stabbings. Number 1, knocking on wood. This superstition seems so harmless, so quaint, like something your grandmother does when she doesn't want to jinx a good situation. But the real origin story involves ancient people literally trying to wake up tree spirits to ask for favors, and it gets progressively more disturbing the deeper you dig. Way before Christianity spread across Europe, pagan cultures believed that trees were basically apartment buildings for supernatural beings. Every oak, every birch, every random shrub could be housing a spirit, and these spirits were not the friendly Disney variety. They were territorial, vengeful, and had zero patience for humans who didn't show proper respect. When ancient people knocked on wood, they weren't just hoping for luck. They were performing a summoning ritual, trying to get the attention of whatever supernatural entity lived in that tree. The 3 knocks weren't random either. 3 was considered the perfect number to pierce the barrier between our world and the spirit realm without being so annoying that you piss off the entity you were trying to contact. But here's where it gets really weird. Different trees housed different types of spirits with different specialties. Oak trees were for protection and strength, willow trees were for matters of the heart, and yew trees, which often grew in graveyards, were basically hotlines to the dead. People would literally travel miles to knock on the right type of wood for their specific problem. The practice was so widespread that early Christians couldn't stamp it out, so they just rebranded it. Instead of waking up tree spirits, knocking on wood became about honoring the wooden cross that Jesus died on. Same gesture, completely different supernatural backing. Modern people knocking on would have no idea they're either performing ancient spirit summoning or inadvertently praying to Christian relics, depending on which historical interpretation you prefer. I'll make similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.